over the left and drops the challenger.
Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet. Airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree.
Just attack the basket. James catches, puts on the throw. Go, go. Back out to Allen. Mystery dribble back. Tie game with 5 seconds remaining. Anything possible.
Back to Flagrant Sports. On this episode, we have Trey, played for Yale, and now is currently on the Greensboro Swarm for the G League. And how you doing, Trey?
Hey, I'm doing good. Just staying home, staying healthy. Same old, same old.
Yeah. Well, we first want to get into. So recently, the top high school recruits have been going to the G League first instead of going to the NCAA. Do you think this is good for them?
I think it's great that they're getting more options. Just, the traditional one and done in the confines of the NCAA. I feel like it's been voiced to be problematic in the last couple of years, and I think it's great that they can kind of start getting what they deserve from a likeness standpoint, and they're generating a lot of money, so I like that they have options to go do so right now as opposed to having to wait a whole season or two.
Yeah. Do you think the NCAA should be scared about this? I mean, we just saw that they recently allowed both football and I guess all NCAA athletes to use their likeness for revenue. So do you think that, one, is this creating any pressure? And also, do you think that they should be scared from a rating standpoint?
Maybe not a rating standpoint. There's always going to be those fans that just are diehard college, like I only watch college type of guys. So I don't think from a rating standpoint they'll struggle, but it's definitely funny just to see the amount of pressure that has been put on them and how they're responding. I think they've just taken huge steps in the last 2 years just because the whole should we pay athletes conversation is just so big as it is now. So, yeah, I think they're definitely feeling that. And, as we know, they've kind of made the right steps in the right direction.
Awesome. So I have a question. What was it like playing against Duke's Big Three?
Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling? What do you want me to say? Yeah. So honestly, a lot of people have asked me that, and to be honest, it's just another game. I was really actually upset that we played Duke instead of North Carolina. I really wanted to play UNC. We'd also played Duke my freshman year twice. So I was kind of like over Duke, so to speak. But it was just another game, obviously a big stage. So it was cool being a senior and a starter in Cameron. I had some friends there and family. But as far as just like those guys, they're super athletic. They're a deep team. And, Yale's a mid-major. And I'm not going to say that we don't, match up toe-to-toe with them because obviously they have, high major depth and athleticism. But it wasn't like anything crazy. It was just they were kind of just more deep, and their bench produced at a higher level than our bench, and we didn't get the job done. I don't know. So it's just like it was a game. We could have won had we played the right way, but that was also a really talented 3 guys that are, generational athletes, so to speak. So, yeah, it was fun. It was cool.
What's the locker room presence before a game like that? Like, is it – I know it's hard to probably get that out of the back of your mind that you're playing not only such a historically great college in Duke, but specifically this year, or I guess that year, the Big Three. What type of atmosphere and conversations go on in the locker room before a game like that?
Yeah, bro. To be completely honest, it's the same as if we're playing Duke or if we're playing, Dartmouth. And that's no shade to either school, no shade to Dartmouth. Like, pregame prep, like, everything is the same. It's really just another game because college basketball, anybody can beat anybody. Like, what's the school? Was it Kansas?
UMBC?
Evansville beat Kansas at Kansas this year. Is that true? Maybe it's
Or
not.
Kentucky, right?
Yeah,
Kentucky,
yeah,
I think.
exactly. Unranked team beats the number 1 seed on the road. Like, if
Yeah.
they're in there talking about, oh, guys, we got to try hard as we might not win. Like, if they're going in with that scared mentality, then they're not going to win. So you just treat it like another game, and if you play how you're supposed to play, you can have a chance to win.
All right. So kind of just transitioning in a sense to especially if you go on like a social media website like Twitter or Instagram, and in the comment sections of any post, you can see a lot of people kind of talking a lot of trash and all that who never played any sort of high school or college level. Do you think there's a lot of misconceptions about that type of level of play, even up to just the college level?
I mean, it's always easy to be a couch critic. I do it with the NBA. I'm just like, I don't know, blaming Mario Chalmers when I was 15 years old, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just part of human nature to feel like you can do it if you're out there. So, yeah, the biggest misconception is just, how hard these guys are going, like what it's like to actually be on the court. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but I remember when I was younger and like you watch games from the bleachers, it feels different than when you're sitting courtside or on the bench and you see like how big they are and how fast they're actually moving.
Yeah.
And that same level of translation gets lost through the television. So, I mean, yeah, everyone's got something to say. Everyone's like, oh, I could do that. I could hit a corner three in the NBA. But you don't pay it any mind because they don't have any idea and they will never have any idea. So It is what it is.
Yeah, me and Sean recently, we went to a Hawks Open practice and we got to see old Vince Carter, and even just seeing like he was doing dunks in the pre-scrimmage, and even just seeing that, it puts it in complete perspective because he's was he like 39 or 40?
40. Yeah, it's really
Yeah, and so he's doing dunks like that at his age, and it just puts in perspective how like athletically, and not even to get to his skill, just how different it is from even just the college level, like just the giant jump that you get athletically with guys like that. And to be fair, he is like once in a generation, but it just puts that type of stuff in perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, I saw you join the basketball tournament this year and are signing with Power DePaul, Clemson's team. So what made you sign with them?
Is that a Clemson Paul right there? My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I don't have like any special connection to Clemson other than just them being close to my home state. So, they reached out and it's a cool tournament and I've never been a part of it. So I was just like, why not? And, I think it's still up in the air if it's actually happening or not, or the logistics on that. But I just reached out and was like, hey, I'd love to be a part of it. And they had hit me up first. But I told them, I was like, yeah, if it happens or not, I just want to be involved or I want to have a chance. So, yeah, I'm really happy to play for a team close to home and, yeah, go Tigers. That's my mindset now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
So going back to what we were talking about, I touched on a little bit about the skill level. So from your college career to the select few games that you got to play in the G League, do you feel how do you feel about the change in competition level between the NCAA and the G League?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest difference from the college to G League level is, like you kind of hinted at earlier, athleticism. And guys are just scorers. Guys can hit shots. They're just really talented. But the main thing for me, I felt like I've always been a person that could hang in with high major athleticism and G League level athleticism. Like that's always been a part of my game. So that really wasn't like the biggest jump. But the only jump is the first guy on the team to the last guy on the bench in the G League is a very good athlete for the most part. So it's not like in college where there's only 3 guys on the court that are maybe just like top tier athleticism. It's everybody. So every single play, whether you switch off on somebody else, like they're capable of blowing by you or they're just capable of dunking on you or whatever. So I'd say just how often I'm around a high level athlete in G League is like times 10 as opposed to college where it's like there's only a couple guys on the court.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I had one question. What's your like favorite Yale memory? Just not even just basketball, just anything from you.
Man, dang. Memory books. Sheesh. On the court, I'd definitely say March Madness freshman year is always something that sticks out. That upset. You got the perfect soundbite of how does Yale out rebound Baylor. It's just like classic like stuff right there. So that's always cool. Senior
Yeah,
year,
that's
going
awesome.
back to the tournament was also huge. Just because we got a taste of it freshman year, and we were just like, dang, we're spoiled now because we can't not go back. We know we missed out on if we didn't get back. So sophomore year, we got to the championship. Junior year, we lost in the semis. And yeah, it's just like the fact that we kind of made it full circle was just like really cool. And then off the court, I could talk a lot about off the court. Yale's crazy. There's just like you run into just the craziest types of people and connections. Man, I guess my first moment where I was like, whoa, like this is Yale, like this is what they talk about, like Ivy League type of level stuff, is I was at a friend's apartment, and it wasn't an apartment, it was a house, but it was like I took an elevator on like a New York street, like we were next to like, I don't know, let's just say an H&M or something, like the main busy street. And he's like, yeah, I live right here. And I'm like, what? This is a store? And he's like, nah, bro, like go through here, take an elevator up on top of the shopping center, and there's just like, it opens up to like his 2-story house on top of that. And it's like a $10 million like setup. So that was the first moment where I was just like, okay, this is like kind of crazy. And I
That's
just wasn't
awesome.
expecting it. So yeah, that was like something that stood out. I was like, wow, this is not North Carolina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
So I wanna touch on just your game personally. Are there any players, I guess, active or in the past that you modeled your game after, and it could just be overall game or just certain aspects of their game that you decided you wanted to take from them and kind of make your own?
Yeah. That's a good question. I always try and answer that. I don't really have like, it's not like I can say, oh, I just studied this guy's game really hard. This guy's really hard. But me, I would just say like, okay, I'll say right now, like I'm gonna use Russ as an example and like Drew Holiday as an example. I kind of see myself, if I'm gonna make it to the next level, just being a guy that's really solid on the ball defensively. Like I've always been good at defense. I've been like I was close. Like I was second place for defensive player of the year in college. I'm still pissed about that. I should have won, but it is what it is. So like I've always been really strong defensively, and I think I've always had a really good motor, like a high motor. Just like I don't know, being able to just kind of just like affect the game in a lot of different ways other than just scoring. And like I'm a rebounding guard, I feel like. So I don't know, just recently I've been looking at Russ's game a lot just because his motor is something that sets himself apart. And Drew Holiday is just kind of like a strong guard. He's crafty with the ball, but he's just like solid defensively, and he's going to strap up the best guard on the other team. So those are two guys recently I've just kind of like been thinking about.
I feel like almost to be a great or elite defender, you kind of have to have that type of motor, that type of drive, because I feel
Right.
like versus offense where it's just repetition, I feel like in a sense, I feel like defense is a lot of like scrappiness and drive and kind of just
Effort.
determination.
Yeah,
Right, exactly. It's all just will to want to play defense. And it's very easy to do if you just do it, but it's hard. So a lot of guys don't want to, and I think that's somewhere I can set myself apart.
yeah.
Awesome.
Reminds me a lot of Tony Allen too.
I love Tony.
Yeah.
So I want to get to so as you know, probably know, the Last Dance documentary came out recently, and everyone, because they don't have anything better to talk about with sports, are talking about LeBron versus Jordan, their top fives. Paul Pierce took LeBron out of his top five.
Crazy.
I want to get kind of your take on that. Where do you? We won't get into the LeBron specifically argument, but do you have a personal greatest of all time? Do you entertain that thought at all? And if you have a top five, what is it?
Dang, man. So yeah, I always enjoyed the comparing ghosts argument before The Last Dance. I loved getting into those arguments. And then just watching this and just seeing like MJ's greatness and just, with the passing of Kobe and, I don't know, just like all of these happening together, it just kind of made me realize like you can't really compare the three. There's no need for like a debate. And do I have opinions on stuff? Like, yeah. My answer to that is I feel like LeBron is probably the best like all around athlete we've ever seen, period, which would make him like the best basketball player. But like the word GOAT has so many other smaller, like new, just little things that can classify you as the GOAT, whether it's the stories or the myth or like the myths and all that stuff, like trash talk. So I don't really care like who the GOAT is. But if I think there's a best basketball player ever, it would be LeBron. But I wouldn't say he's my GOAT. But I don't even like arguing. I just appreciate all of them.
Yeah, my perspective on that's always has kind of changed since Kobe died, because I feel like we get too caught up in comparing instead of just admiring and appreciating. I feel like just we kind of take for granted what we have, and thankfully we got to see his entire career play out. But unfortunately, this was bigger than basketball, and we didn't get to see his entire life play out like it should have. Facts.
Yeah. And I gotta ask, is that a autographed Kobe jersey behind you?
It is. I honestly forgot until he said that. Yeah, shout out Beam, man. The 8 awesome. Beam special. So yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. So I want to get into we kind of, I feel like the answer to this might be from a team we mentioned earlier, a player from there. Do you have a toughest player that you had to guard?
Yeah. RJ Barrett, that was my matchup. He was tough. I'm not even going to lie. He's super athletic, big wing, get to the rim. He was really tough. Sophomore year, I guarded Markelle Fultz. He was really good. He's still really good. Yeah, so I'd say Markelle or RJ Barrett was probably my toughest matchup.
I had a feeling. RJ, he's no joke. I'm a Florida State fan, and seeing him hit that buzzer beater on Florida State a couple years ago, that was tough to watch.
Yeah.
Let's see, Sean, you got anything else?
Yeah. So what has your dad's legacy meant to you, like on and off the court?
Yeah, great question. I think it's kind of like changed as I've gotten a little bit older. When I was younger, it was kind of just like when I was like really young, it was kind of just like, yeah, like NBA dad, great figure on and off the court. Like great in the NBA, but also just great guy to be around. And that's kind of just the story. I never really like dug deeper than that or really like put much thought into it other than like his story. And now that I'm kind of just like at the age where I'm like, G League, late college, just older, and actually having like impact in communities and being able to maintain relationships with people, I kind of understand more what his legacy meant or like what his legacy was told to me as when I was a kid. So now I kind of just see it as like he had a lot of impact on people. So I guess the answer is like I didn't understand what that impact like actually meant. So yeah, so now for me it's just kind of like people didn't forget when they came across him, whether it was if they saw him play, like with the things that he did on the court, and they didn't forget him if they had a conversation with him. So I just feel like impact is like a word I've been thinking about a lot lately, and he had a lot of it. So I'm just trying to like emulate that, I guess.
Okay. That's great.
So on the court and off the court, did his reputation for being a great guy and also a reputation for being a very tough and very scrappy defender, did that in both aspects of life inspire you to, one, be like a good person and also to be great defensively?
Yeah, definitely on the good person side, for sure. And then defensively, I think it's just a product of like genetics, to be honest. It's just kind of like, well, honestly, y'all should see my sister. Just go look at my sister's film. She's more like him on the court than I am. but I think I do have just like that trait, whatever it is, innate. I've just always been good at it, and it was never like intentional. It's just kind of just like what it is. So I'm just gonna run with it.
Yeah. Do you feel like if you could, and I don't want to touch on this too much, if you feel like you could reach out to one of Kobe's daughters, because I feel like y'all kind of have a similar, like this is kind of a similar situation. What would you say to them to help them out, like to get through such a tough time?
Yeah. I think one thing that's like really big is just they have a lot of people that now that they always wanted to see them succeed, but especially now, they have a lot of people at their disposal that will willingly and gladly like reach out to them and give a helping hand in whatever they pursue in life. It doesn't even have to be basketball, just because off of the strength of their relationship with Kobe. So it's similar with me. People that are in my network now, knew my father and just want to see his kids do well because he's not around, obviously. So I would say that just don't underestimate the power of like your father's relationship with these other people. You might not know them, and it's just kind of something you don't even realize. And I'm just now seeing like what networking looks like and what relationships look like as an adult. And yeah, it makes me realize like people will just gladly be there just to support you just because of who your father was. And yeah, I'd say that.
All right. Sean, did you have any more?
Yeah. Do you have any like funny stories about just playing pickup basketball with your sister, like in the driveway, or just anything like that?
I mean, nah, like everybody wants us. Everybody wants me to have some crazy story. Honestly, we never really played one-on-one that much. We never really like the most we would do is like play like horse or whatever. But I always like to joke around and say she would bully me in the paint or whatever. But that's not true. We didn't play that much, so nah, not. I wouldn't say I do.
All right.
There wasn't like I know Reggie Miller's sister
Right.
is one of like the
Exactly.
greatest WNBA players of all time. It wasn't anything like that where.
Right. If she was older than me, they would definitely be like that. But she's younger. I was like, I'm gonna say it. I've always been better. But she, for her like age and being a girl, she's like solid. She's really tough. So yeah.
Do you think competitively that helped you at all to have a sibling who was going into the same field as you are, like with athletics and basketball?
Honestly, I felt like since I was doing it first, like if you ask her this question, it'd probably be way different. But I've always like since I'm older, I've always just been the first person to hit these milestones, like 1,000 points, all state, whatever, like conference championship. So like I kind of felt bad. I was just like rooting for her even more. So now that she's literally had the same achievements as I have on the court and the college level in high school. It feels good that she's been able to hit those because in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I really want her to be able to do it and to not have to be like, oh, like Trey's getting all the accolades. I'm really glad she's been able to do that for herself. So if you asked her, she might be like, yeah, she was chasing me, but I don't know. I can't speak for her, but that's probably what I would be thinking if I was her.
Okay. I have another question. I saw your website, and pretty much you show that Drake is your favorite artist. So, what's your favorite Drake song?
Whoa, you could not ask me that. I don't have an answer. You can't force me. That's touchy subject. Oh shoot, it just depends on my mood. Like I can't even give you a top 10, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Like he has a lot of good songs.
Yeah,
We'll say Feel No Ways has got to be up there.
Ooh. I mean, yeah, it just depends on the mood, man.
Yeah.
That's funny.
If it's late at night, it's probably more Take Care. If it's more like daytime, you got like you're not gonna play like Marvin's Room or something like that.
Right, exactly.
I hope not.
Exactly. Yeah.
So where do you see future wise, where do you see your career like going? Where do you want your career to go? I feel like I know the obvious goal, but what do you think are some of the steps that you have to take to get you to your ultimate goal?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's basketball. You can't reinvent the wheel. There's nothing that I can do that I haven't, seen from a workout perspective or like a film or understanding of the game. Obviously, you can grow, but the way you grow isn't that much different. The way you grow is consistency. So that's one of my biggest goals. I think if I can be consistently the best player I can be, then I'll be fine. And whether that's the NBA, overseas, like there's a lot of ways to do successfully in basketball. You know, I'm not saying I don't care about making it to the NBA, but if I am the best player I am on a daily basis, then the rest will take care of itself.
What's the best piece of advice a coach has ever given you?
Dang. Y'all coming with the questions, man. I should have had some notes or something. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's really tough. I'll say hold on, let me see if I can find it. I don't really remember any like bulletin board coaches quotes. But basically someone told me something along the lines of like, you don't want your biggest regret to be being scared to take a big shot when your career is over. So that's kind of like stuck out to me, is just like, you know, you only have a certain amount of time to do well at basketball, and nobody's going to care or whatever if you don't succeed. So like, why not just like try your best at it? That's kind of what I took away from it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What do you feel like that what would you say is the strongest part of your game, and what part of your game do you have to improve on?
Yeah, the strongest part of my game, I would just say I really understand how to play. Like, I understand just like what being a teammate is. Like, I personally feel like I have the same game from the high school level to the NBA. So like, it doesn't matter who I'm out there with, I can do the same exact thing. Like, I just can, you know, score the ball, I can defend, I can just be really solid on the court. And I fully believe that. Like, if you look at it's funny, I'm plugging my TikTok here, but like, I've made a TikTok video. It's like episode 2 of my series, and I was cutting up old film, and I found clips. You know those Nike commercials where it'll be like Kobe doing a fadeaway, and then it's like Jordan doing the exact same fadeaway. Well, yeah. I found like when I was searching for film, I saw clips of myself doing the exact same thing all the way from the high school level to the G League level, like frame by frame. It was kind of crazy because I was like, I don't know what that means, but to kind of answer your question, I think the strongest part of my game is just like being super well-rounded and having a good understanding of how to play basketball. Like, guys are athletic, guys can dunk, but a lot of guys don't know how to play the game. Mm-hmm. And then weaknesses, I'm not going to put that out there. Y'all can go watch film. Y'all can go watch film. I know what I need to work on, so I'll leave it at that.
I'm going to leave that to the opposing team.
Yeah, man. I don't know who's watching.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Unless, John, you have anything else?
I had one more thing.
Yeah, sure.
I saw a Bleacher Report posted one of your TikToks, and it got millions of views. Did you ever expect it to get that big?
No, bro. I was at the grocery store. And I got back in my car, and I opened Instagram, and it just like said like 99, 99, 99. I was like, what? I was like, literally, like, I thought it was broken. And yeah, so they just pulled it. I didn't like send it to Bleacher Report or anything. It was really just TikTok centered. And like, I guess just like backstory on like the TikTok, I downloaded it during the coronavirus G League, like, what's going to happen? Like, we can't get in the gyms. Like, we don't know if the season's canceled, because we were literally in the apartments. Like, we couldn't get in the gym. I was in the apartments for 3 straight days, and I was like, bro, I'm bored. I'm downloading TikTok. And I just made like funny videos or whatever. Kind of got like a decent amount of followers just from like having fun with it. And I got to like 100,000 followers, and that was the point where I was like, oh, this can actually like be something. Like, at first it was jokes or whatever. 100,000, I was like, all right, let me talk to somebody. So I had a meeting, and this girl was basically saying like helping me with branding. And she was saying, you haven't shared any of your like life story on. Oh, great. Wow. That thing just popped up. I thought it was ending. So yeah, so I had this meeting with this girl about like TikTok branding, which is like the craziest conversation ever. I felt so dumb doing it. I was like, this is an app. This is stupid. Why am I doing this branding meeting? But hey, here we are. I'm just going to take it for what it is. And she was saying, put some of your life story out on there and just see how it does. And I was like, I'm not famous. Like, no one cares. Like, I don't really want to talk about it. I just would rather crack jokes on TikTok all day long. She was like, no, just see what it does. So I made that video, and it did really well on TikTok. It did like 1 million or whatever on TikTok. And then I think like 2 days later, Bleacher Report reposted it. And that kind of just like, it just kind of opened my eyes to like, I don't know what this app is. I thought it was dumb at first. And now it's like, I'm here on the app as like an influencer. It feels so stupid. I can't even take myself serious like saying it. But yeah, I've got like 250,000 on TikTok in 2 months. So like I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm not like trying to flex. It's just like I'm just trying to like figure it out. So it's been crazy, bro, to be honest. And Bleacher Report helped out a whole lot with that. So shout out Bleacher Report.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's really cool.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for being on the show. This was awesome. And
this was
be sure
really
to go
cool.
follow him on TikTok. What's your TikTok username?
T-Fills, just first initial, last name.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Maybe in the future we'll do something again. And thank you all for watching.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was great. See you.
All right.